Hello everyone, it's Lauren here. Only Shade Drops back for another video. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty good. Pretty tough to do with this off-season thing, so I thought let's do another Eurovision news for what happened the past week. I'm gonna talk about RTV Slovenia's requests, the members of the parliament's letter for the EBU, and a few countries that announced their participation to Eurovision 2026. So it's gonna be a bit of a short one. I already talked in my last stream about the televote numbers from VRT and RTVE if you want to go check that one out. So yeah, let's quickly talk about this, have some Eurovision talk, and just before we do that, and this off season is getting a little bit hard for Eurovision content creators, so please put a little like, you can subscribe, does not cost anything and it helps me a lot. You cannot imagine. Also, you can follow me on social media, Blue Sky, Instagram. The links are in the description below. And well, I will see you there. Alright, so let's start with two articles from RTV Slovenia. Um, the first, I'm gonna do chronological order for these. So the first one titled "If the EB," by the way, this is a translated article, so there might be some errors there. So if the EBU does not take concrete steps, RTV Slovenia will consider their participation in the Eurovision Song Contest. Alright, so Television Slovenia has contacted the EBU with growing concerns about Israel's continued participation in EBU events, including Eurovision. At the same time, she called for an open debate among members on the transparency of this year's vote and cooperation policies. After the Belgian and Spanish broadcasters asked the EBU for transparency in this year's Eurovision voting, the current method of which they believe is no longer apolitical and cohesive and therefore appropriate, Radio Television Slovenia also expressed its concerns. Quote, as the director of Television Slovenia, I am once again addressing you with serious and growing concerns regarding Israel's continued participation in EBU events, especially the Eurovision Song Contest. That's from Xenia Horvat's letter sent to the members of the executive board of the EBU. She added that she already approached them with this issue last year when she cited a number of concerns which she believes have only intensified since then. Quote, Unfortunately, the response we received did not contain convincing or concrete explanations, nor did it reflect the urgency and seriousness of the matter we are addressing. In the meantime, the humanitarian situation in Gaza and the occupied Palestinian territories has deteriorated even more, and public concern both in Slovenia and across Europe has increased significantly. Then Harvard continued mentioning this year's results of the televote in Eurovision. She said would further reinforce public distrust. Many viewers in Slovenia and elsewhere expressed serious doubts about the credibility and transparency of the vote, especially in the political context surrounding the competition. The feeling that political interests could influence decisions on participation or the final results of the vote undermined public confidence in the EBU's impartiality. We are particularly interested in comparing telephone votes with online votes, as we believe that this is essential to restoring confidence in the integrity of the voting process As public media, we have an obligation to provide accurate and verifiable information to our audiences. She added that they do not understand why there is such secrecy surrounding these proceedings. Quote, as a public media outlet accountable to the public, Television Slovenia is under increasing pressure to respond to such concerns. If the EBU does not take concrete steps and take a stance on the issue, we will consider our participation in future Eurovision events. And she continued but added that this was not a decision that would be taken lightly. Quote, we will be forced to do so if the EBU continues to fail to respond to these crucial issues from both an ethical and public interest perspective. As she wrote before calling on the EBU to convene an quote, open, inclusive, and urgent debate among its members, including music performers and civil society representatives, on voting transparency, participation policies, and ensuring that the EBU continues to respond to these key issues. She wrote that the values of the EBU are consistently and credibly implemented. And she concluded the letter by saying that Television Slovenia hopes to receive a serious and substantive response and to restore confidence in transparency, accountability, and the values to which the EBU is committed. Then, a few days after, we got another article to from RTV Slovenia saying that they request data on televoting from the EBU due to obvious statistical irregularities. We saw, by the way, in the VRT release of the televoting numbers that there were some irregularities. For example, now I'm talking about Belgium. 2023 was, for example, way more watched than the 2025 final. But the 2025 final had like, I don't remember the exact numbers, but more than 100,000 casted votes. Also, last year in the semifinal, we had like 40,000 votes casted. This year, around 20,000. The big difference being Israel not being in the same semifinal. So these, I'm guessing these are the statistical irregularities they're talking about. Spain also revealed some numbers. You can go check websites like Eurovoix, go check ESC Discord's accounts. They showed these numbers. RTV Slovenia and the director of television Xenia Horvat sent another letter to the European Broadcasting Union reference group related to the implementation of the popular vote at Eurovision, in which it officially requests, quote, comprehensive information on the televoting process of the Eurovision Song Contest, in particular with regard to performances in 2023, 2024, and 2025, thus joining RTV in similar calls from colleagues from other broadcasters. In addition, RTV Slovenia also calls for an independent forensic audit of the results of the telephone vote for the last 2 years, and for the EBU to present the results of the audit publicly. Quote, our concern stems from the obvious statistical irregularities observed in the voting patterns of Eurovision 2025, which, as in 2024, seriously question the integrity of televoting without transparent access to voting data. The claims by the EBU or its contractors that the vote was valid only add to the doubt that the published results may not reflect the true preferences of viewers. As Xenia Horvat wrote, RTV Slovenia expressed similar concerns last year that we said earlier, but the request for relevant data was rejected on grounds that it was not in line with the EBU's policy and that this topic would be discussed at the next meeting of the reference group. But RTV did not receive the promised information on the results of this discussion. Now, for information, this year, I think that the meeting of the reference group will be in June. And if there is a big decision that will be taken, it will be probably revealed around there. So Let's keep our eyes open for the next few weeks. Next, I'm gonna talk a little bit about San Marino with the general director of San Marino RTV, Roberto Sergio, and the secretary of tourism, Federico Pedini Amati, do not agree with the voting mechanism. They said, quote, the voting system is not good. I'm reading from an article from San Marino RTV. So, quote, the mechanism does not work, says the general manager, Roberto Sergio. It doesn't work on the one hand because televoting evidently has conditioning that goes beyond what is the song listened to. Again, there are zeros rather than incredible numbers that are not assigned for the quality of the song's performance, but for a variety of reasons. But what is even more serious is the lack of consideration and seriousness on the part of the juries. These juries, which you never know by whom they were chosen, with what names and with what skills with respect to music, have given votes that are truly shameful. What we would like to say to the EBU, that's Pedini Amati, that's the Secretary of Tourism, is that we would not want to continue to be penalized just because we are a small state. This is not fair. We prepare, we bring artists of the highest level. We are a state on a par with the largest states. So yeah, on this case for San Marino, they are mostly talking about a bias towards smaller countries, which you can clearly see with Malta's televoting results. That is a true thing that exists. San Marino did get a televote top 10 result though with Serhat in 2019. They soft flopped with the televote with Senhit and this year with Gabri Ponte, who's a huge DJ, so that must have been a bit of a disappointing result for them. I still think, as I said in other videos, that their qualification for the final was already a win. But yeah, we can clearly understand that these smaller countries do feel that there is some kind of unfairness in the televote for that part. I don't know if I fully agree, but there are some points to be made there. All right, so now I'm gonna talk about a letter coming from I think 13 members of the European Parliament, which I'm gonna read to you. The letter is to the attention of Mrs. Delphine Ernot Kunci, President of the EBU, Mr. Noel Curran, Director General of the EBU, and Mrs. Ana Maria Bordas, Chair of the Eurovision Song Contest Reference Group, and to members of the Executive Committee of the EBU. I'm going to read to you the full letter so you can have your own opinion on it. So, dear Mrs. Delphine Ernot Conchi, Mr. Cura, Mrs. Ana Maria Bordas, and the Executive Committee of the EBU, following the conclusion of the 69th edition of the Eurovision Song Contest, we, the undersigned members of the European Parliament, write to you with renewed apprehension regarding increasing concerns of irregularities tied to the 2025 contest. While the Eurovision Song Contest is a celebration of culture and music, not politics, it is clear that systemic issues surrounding transparency, fairness, and undue influence now threaten the very values the EBU claims to hold up: independence, impartiality, and public trust. Both members of the public and several nation broadcasters have already raised serious concerns regarding possible voting manipulation and the use of state-run promotional infrastructure in support of this year's participating act from Israel. We direct your attention to the data released by the Flemish public broadcaster VRT, which revealed sharp, unexplained disparities between viewership and televoting participation in the 2023-2025 period. These trends are not easily explained by organic fluctuations in viewer enthusiasm and warrant further scrutiny. In parallel, Spanish public broadcaster RTV has officially requested a full audit on its own national televoting due to similar suspicions. This mirrors similar concerns raised by RTV Slovenia following concerns of irregularities in the 2024 contest. The growing pattern of national broadcasters doubting the validity of their own country's data should be an alarm bell to the EBU. While a certain degree of dissent and criticism is natural in international competition, such as Eurovision, the succession of such concerns from multiple countries reflects a genuine credibility crisis. Without full transparency and necessary change in how the competition operates, Eurovision risks losing the confidence of both its member organizations and audience. Equally troubling is the revelation that the Israeli government advertising agency Lapam was directly involved in orchestrating and funding a cross-platform campaign to promote Israel's 2025 entry. This included Lapam purchasing demographical targeted digital ads who has reached millions of viewers, building on top of 2024's effort, which we saw direct involvement from the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Such coordinated state-backed activity raises fundamental concerns about the contestants' neutrality as well as impartiality and fairness. European Broadcasting Union rules explicitly require national broadcasters to remain independent and non-partisan. The claim that the Israeli public broadcaster Kan is such an independent outlet was a key argument in the EBU's response to calls for the expulsion of Israel from the Eurovision Song Contest. An Israeli contestant benefiting from state-sponsored advertising significantly undermines this claim and raises doubts about the non-political character of this year's performance. To protect the credibility of the Eurovision Song Contest and the trust of the European public, we urge the EBU to take the following steps immediately. 1. Release the full voting tallies broken down by country, voting method, SMS, app, online, round, and contestant, so that independent observers and national broadcasters can verify the validity of the results. 2. Authorize an independent and transparent audit of the 2025 voting process involving recognized third-party cybersecurity and statistical experts in cooperation with concerned national broadcasters. 3. Reveal all direct and indirect advertising contracts. 4. Clarify and implement restrictions on government-sponsored promotion of Eurovision entries, including an explicit prohibition of state-directed advertising agencies influencing voting outcomes. 5. Reveal all sponsorship contracts. 6. Prepare a detailed analysis of the voting system and propose necessary changes to the voting system in order to prevent political interferences or manipulation. The EBU claims to be a guardian of public service media, funded on the principles of impartiality, accountability, and intercultural dialogue. Failing to address these systemic issues would signal a troubling departure from these ideals and invite further politicization of the contest and erosion of public trust. As one of the core institutions of European cultural cooperation, the continued success of Eurovision relies on the perception that every country, every vote, and every voice is treated equally. We thank you for your when they thank them for their comprehensive and timely response. I'm gonna give you the name of the people who wrote and signed the letter. Matjaž Nemec, Slovenia. Eden or Jordan, Ireland. I have no idea how to read that name. Rema Hassan, France. Barry Andrews, Ireland. Vincent Marsa Ibanez, Spain. Ana Miranda Paz, Spain. Vladimir Prebilic, Slovenia. Nikos Papas, Greece. Irena Joveva, Slovenia. Lynn Boylan, Ireland. Georgios Gorgiou, Cyprus. Maria Ohisalo, Finland. Munir Satori, France. Alright. Now that we're done with the letters from Slovenia and members of the parliament and all, let's talk about some participation confirmations. Alright, so the United Kingdom confirmed their participation to Eurovision 2026, as well as Malta. Malta also announced the start of their Eurovision 2026 songwriting camp to write songs to their national final and to try to represent Malta at Eurovision 2026. I'm pretty curious to see what these two countries will do. The UK got a very good jury score this year, still 0 from the televote, but overall it ended up being an okay result for them, 19th. Malta had their first qualification since 2021. I'm curious to see if they can maybe try to qualify again next year. Also, RTV announced changes, their first change for Benidorm Fest. The winner will now be granted 150,000 euros to help them with their careers. Before that, they earned the right to represent Spain at Eurovision 2025, but no financial prize or anything. So that is the first big change for Benidorm Fest. Yeah, I think we're done with the Eurovision news of this week. This video was a little bit longer than expected, I think. So I will thank you a lot for watching. If you liked it, please put a little like, subscribe, follow me on social media, Blue Sky, Instagram. You know, the links are in the description below. I will see you there. Bye bye.